got that going. Rhonda, you got yes, there it goes. There it
She's
goes.
like a
So
little
yes,
fairy.
yes, she is. She's magic. She's like Tinkerbell.
Yes, she is.
But, the meeting will be recorded so we can play it, down the road. But I'm excited and very thankful to have Amy Thomas here with me, Butler County Adult Education. And I think this is a good look at not just Butler County adult education, but just adult education as a whole, because there's a lot that goes on with this organization that, the more we know, the better. The more we know, the better. And I think Amy has her hands in a lot of additional activities that are, extremely helpful and interesting for Butler County for every life that she touches. So
Thank you.
thank you, Amy, thank you, Amy.
Thank you all for having me.
So welcome everyone who is here this morning. We will get the show on the road. We are going to do uh, uh, a virtual tour. We may be a little bit limited as far as mobility, just as far as looking around. I'm going to try to keep it to my laptop if at all possible, because honestly, it's just a little crazy switching from phone to laptop. So if that is okay with everyone, Amy will be walking us through using her voice, because she can do that. She will paint very vivid images for us. So we'll give you a chance to ask questions, be thinking about some interesting questions for Amy, things to really get to the heart of what she does and the community that she works with. And then we'll look at next steps as always. And since we're talking about education focused, my question for this meeting, just to sort of get us thinking and get us talking, is your favorite book. What is your favorite book? It could be something that you read when you were younger. It could be something that you recently read. But I'm going to start with Amy. Amy, what is your favorite book?
Well, I have two. The
Okay.
story of Helen Keller and her life,
Ooh,
and then
yes.
The Giver.
Now, what's The Giver about?
The Giver is about an older gentleman who takes all of the bad things that happens in the community where they don't have any
Uh-huh.
bad things, anything bad in their minds, anything bad in their hearts. He takes all the pain away from the whole entire community
Oh,
until
wow.
a kid comes by the name of Jonah,
Uh-huh.
who starts to pick up on stuff where he's having feelings. So he's going to be taking the Giver's spot.
Oh gosh. Well,
Yeah,
that would be a pretty bad
it's a
gig.
movie too. So
I wouldn't like that job. I wouldn't like to be the giver,
mm-mm.
But yes, it sounds like a very good
It's a
book.
good, but the
Very
book
good
is
book.
better than the movie.
And I think that
Most
that
of the
and
time,
most of the
that's
time that's true. All right, Laura, what about you? What's one of your favorite books?
The Diary of Anne Frank.
I
Yes.
taught that unit for 16 years at the middle school, and my students were very intrigued by it. She was an amazing girl, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
And
her
there
resiliency and her helpfulness and just the risk that she was able, willing to take for folks. I mean, it just resonates. It impacted me when I was younger and even now as an adult, because I don't know how many adults nowadays would be willing to take those types of life-threatening risks for
Mhm.
folks. So I really do enjoy that book.
Oh, yes, yes. And there is a fairly recent film. I'm thinking it's, or maybe it was even a docu-series, and it focused on Meep. Remember,
Mm.
Meep, the
I
the
did
woman who,
them, but I haven't put the case note in. I done mine on the 30th.
oh, Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine, why don't you hit that mute button? There you go. Good job. Good job, Jasmine. But you keep putting those notes in as well. So it is fantastic, but it focuses on Meep, and it gives you a new perspective, because you don't realize just how much she was on the line. You think about Anne Frank, but I mean, my goodness, her and her husband, really good, really good. Highly recommend. All right, Shannon, what about you? What about you? What book you like?
Well, I am constantly reading and listening, so it's really hard for me to narrow it down. But some of the books that I've loved, I've read all the Stephen King books, but my favorite one was Needful Things. Um, and it's I mean it's got a lot of humor in it. I also loved when I was younger the Thornbirds and The Prince of
Yes.
Tides was one of my
Oh,
favorite
that's a good
books.
one.
Yes, The Prince of Tides. The Prince of Tides book is
Hmm.
so off the charts good. And there's so
Hmm.
much that, which you know, of course, there's so much in that book that is not in the movie
Hmm.
that makes it like, oh, it's so much more than just like a romance type
Oh
thing.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh, so good. So good. Very good. All right. Terry, what about you?
I'm a lot like Shannon. I am constantly reading. That's probably my favorite pastime. So this is a really hard question for me. But off the top of my head, I'd say probably Kate Chopin's The Awakening, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Alchemist. I love The Alchemist. I don't know if anybody else has ever read that.
I haven't read that. The other
Yeah,
two, yes, but I haven't read that.
yeah.
What's that? What's that about, Terry?
It's essentially it's kind of like an exploration of self, like finding purpose and meaning. And it's really short read, but it's a
Mhm.
great read to read it when I'm, kind of feeling maybe a little lost or misdirected. It's a good book.
Well, yeah, that sounds like one I need to look up. Very good. All right, Jasmine, what about you?
Okay, sorry about that earlier.
Oh, no, we're just
No,
messing with you. You're good.
I'm like Shannon. I do love Stephen King. Any kind of like horror story book, I'm all in. And then I do like the Lorraine McDaniel books. I mean, those are from when I was in school and stuff, but those were my absolute favorite. I don't really do too much reading now. We started a book club at work here, but I just bought the book and never read it.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I will tell you the book that probably is my all-time favorite that I cannot tell you how many times I've read it. And, it's not that I just continually read the same book over and over, but I taught it when I taught high school. So, and I would read it. I would do, reading aloud, even with my seniors, because I think that's a good activity. It helps,
Mhm.
it really it helps enhance the experience, I think. But my all-time favorite is Prayer for Owen Meany. It is by John Irving, and the whole focus of the book is this child thinks he is being used as God's instrument, and it is just incredible. I mean, incredible. The book starts off with these two best friends at a baseball game, and Owen is like little bitty. It's almost like his growth is stunted. He's very weak and little, and his strike zone is so small. The coach would always tell him to just you will get on base. You will be walked every single time. Just don't swing. And in this game, they were really, really winning or really, really losing. But what Owen did would have no consequence. So the coach is like, swing away. Have at it. You just go ahead and swing away. And so the little boy does. And as he hits the ball and it's flying out, and everybody is just like, oh, this is fantastic. And as it is up in the air, it starts falling and it strikes his best friend's mom in the temple, and she dies instantly.
Oh no.
And that is the beginning of the book. And that is sort of, this boy thinks that he is being used, as God's instrument. And it just, oh, so emotional. I remember, Amy, when I was reading it aloud to my students, every time we got to a certain line at the end, I would just, even from period to period, I would just break down and start bawling, couldn't finish it. That good. That good. So, put that on your to-do list. But Jasmine, I'm like you in that I feel like I've gotten out of the habit of reading and I need to get back in it. It's good for you. Good for you. And it's, it's all about education. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with Amy. So, Amy, we're here at Butler County Adult Education. That's where we are. And I would like to begin just by asking you, hey, how did you get started doing what you're doing?
Well, I started teaching right out of college here at Butler County Middle School. So I taught middle school for 16 years and I coached cheerleading for 16 years. And then when I started figuring out, especially with the Diary of Anne Frank, we read the play, when they asked me, when some eighth grade students were like, where's the part where Peter steals Anne's shoes and calls her Mrs. Quack Quack?
Mm-hmm.
And Laura probably knows what I'm talking about on this one. And I knew what page it was on in the whole literature book is when I thought, man, I probably need to do something different. I've got all these books memorized. I've done this for so long and I just needed something. I needed a change and I needed a purpose. Sometimes
So that was sort of like an epiphany.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so some things happened and this job opened up for me, luckily. And just so happened, I have a criminology minor. And so they also asked me if I would mind teaching at the jail. And of course I said, absolutely. I would love to help that population.
Oh, wow.
And that kind of went along with my minor too. So I almost feel like being here is my purpose. And it was a God wink. I think little things happen and I call those God winks. And I think, honestly, I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I took a little bit of a pay cut, but sometimes I would rather be happy and make less than not as happy and make more. So my superintendent's a rock star. He pushed me along and helped me and guided me and said, you can do this. It's going to be a change, but it's going to be fine. You can do this. And so with his help and Donna's help, she's kind of the person my go-to person before then I get extra tough. But and I mean, it's been a blessing ever since then. I love my job. I truly love my job. I mean, there are days, we all have our days.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I truly can say I love my job.
So what does an average day look like here?
That's funny.
At Butler County Adult Education.
On Mondays, I'm at the jail, and then I have the Kentucky Christian Recovery guys Monday after I get back from the jail. Now, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays is crazy. I have a little bit of everything going on in here. Shannon knows. She's been here before. I have the Kentucky Christian Recovery guys in here on Tuesdays. I have all my GED students here on Tuesdays. The first Tuesday of every month is our orientation class with Brittany Hippler, who does a fantastic job. It's crazy in here that day because we have people wanting jobs, wanting to get into college. And so it's never boring.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's something going on all the time in here, and Shannon can vouch for that too. And you hear stories and you hear people's problems, and you just have to come in with one of those, it's going to be a good day. And if it's not going to be a good day for somebody, maybe I can help them make their day better. So,
right. So, and I think, and I couldn't agree more. I feel like, I've gotten to know you over, over a few years now. And I mean, it seems like you're the heart of this organization.
I try to be,
yeah. I mean, you really are. And I think it shows when you put so much of yourself into what you're doing. So I want to know, I have never been to the jail classes. What does that look like? Because I think that would be interesting.
It is. It's actually, and Shannon knows what I'm probably getting ready to say. I love teaching at the jail. And the reason why is because it's like when I walk in, they're excited because I'm providing them a service and they get to get out of their cells, and it makes you feel good as a teacher. Or, if you're going to come in and do career edge or whatever, Shannon knows, it just makes you feel good to know that they're excited about seeing you, that they have something they can do. But a typical day for me at the jail is usually I'll teach the ladies first, because the ladies and men cannot be together. So I'll teach the ladies first for about an hour and a half. Then I teach the men for about an hour and a half. And I've never had anything bad happen. I'm in there by myself. No one's in there with me, but I've never had anything bad happen. The closest, I guess you could say, if anything minor out of the 7 years that I've been teaching there was just an altercation between two fellas, but I told them we're not doing that here. They can take it somewhere else, and they quit.
Mhm.
So, but I've never had anything bad happen in there, and this is sad, but half of them are my former eighth graders. I had them in eighth grade.
My
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my
That's
goodness.
that's the sad part of it. And then, you know, there are goods and bads to teach in there, of course, because you hear so many sad, horrific stories, and especially the ones that you hear that you had in eighth grade. And if now I go back and I can look and think, oh,
Mhm.
if I had known this was happening to this child when they were in eighth grade, I would have done something about it, but they never would tell.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the reason why they're in jail now, of all the bad things that had happened to them in the
Right.
past. But on a good note, I have many of them that get out.
Mhm.
I have one, and she won't mind me calling her name. Her name's Alicia. We won't do last names.
Yeah, yeah.
Who has moved to Bowling Green, and she has a job. She's been clean from drugs for going on 4 years now,
Mhm.
and has established a job, a family. She's married, and she's doing fantastic.
Oh,
So you have to, you know, the goods outweigh the bads.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So the jail program, I'm guessing that they have to elect to participate in that. Like,
Well, sometimes they're court ordered by our judge.
Okay.
Our judge is
Okay.
great. Judge Coleman's amazing when it comes to their education. So, and he'll ask them, like, when they go up for their indictments or their court case, and he'll be like, do you have your diploma, your high school diploma?
Mhm.
If not, sometimes he court orders them
Okay.
to get it.
okay.
And then sometimes people just don't, you know, they just think, hey, I'm going to do something while I'm in here, because it takes 90 days off their sentence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
takes 90 days off their sentence. And so most of the time that's an incentive for them to
Well,
wanna
sure.
to want to come to my classes. And then we also do at the jail anger management classes, and then sometimes they do parenting, depending on how many people sign up for it.
Do you lead those two?
No,
Okay.
I don't lead
Okay.
those.
I didn't think you did, but
Mm-mm.
I wanted to make
But
sure.
there's a lot of things that's offered there at the jail that they can do if they want to participate.
Right.
So
And I mean, and that's huge.
Mhm.
That's huge because I don't know, the idea of using that time, you know, learning during that time
Mhm.
period, taking something that, you know, that is sort of cut you off at the knees, and then being able to utilize that and harness it and point it in a positive direction is huge.
And then our pre-release class is a big deal too. And we Brittany Hippler leads that. And
Mhm.
that's the second Friday of every other month. And that's where we have a folder full of all the resources that they could possibly
Mhm.
need.
Mhm.
And when they get out of jail, they know to ask for their IDs,
Yes.
their release papers, and that folder.
Right.
Those are the three things they know to ask for. And so we usually have about 10 to 15 males that come to that class, and usually 3 to 5 females. Our population's more of males than females.
Yeah.
So, but that's a great class. I mean, it's
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you know, Michael Updegraff got that going for
Yes.
us, and
Yes.
Brittany does a terrific job at that, and Shannon comes to some of those at times too. So
Very good. Very
good
good.
stuff going on at the jail too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in addition to what you do here at Butler County Adult Education, you do pre-release classes,
Mhm.
you do
Orientation,
the
targeted.
targeted services orientation, you
Mhm.
help with that. Then you mentioned what are some of the other additional things that you mentioned?
We also help people get into college.
Okay.
So if they want to get in, Nikki comes and helps me with that from Sky CTC. She does a great job as well. And I mean, it's not surprising that sometimes we have seniors over here. The tech school is attached to this. This is our
Yeah,
tech
yeah.
school. And so sometimes we have seniors make appointments with me where I can get with Nikki, or now Shannon with her new
Right.
job.
Right.
She'll be helping some of my seniors this year. So it's pretty cool that they know that they can trust to come in here and get help if they need to get into college. And some of their parents will
Yes.
contact me for the FAFSA, and then we'll work
Right.
on that. So it's nice to have that, not only just GED in here, we also help people get into college or get jobs.
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of, when I have a job fair here usually once or twice a year. And a lot of our seniors that are in the nursing programs get
Yes.
hired on spot here for our nursing home.
Yes.
So,
Which is huge.
Mhm.
Which is huge.
mhm.
Well, tell me a little bit about, because I always like to bring things back to stories,
Mhm.
because, you know, part of what we're doing here in this type of community partner team meeting is to give people a better look at what each organization does. I think you can learn when somebody gives a
Mhm.
presentation, but it takes it to a different level of learning when you're having conversations with people, and it's very, it's very natural
Yeah.
and all that. So tell me, and be thinking about more, but what is one story of someone who went through the adult ed program here? What is one story that really stands out?
Okay, her name is Isabella. She was one of my Hispanic students and now one of my dear friends. So, she came in and she needed a GED, and of course, she speaks three languages. Laura, you'll understand this better than me. She speaks Chew, and then of course Spanish, and then English. She's pretty fluent in English. So, but anyway, she came in and she was just very down on herself, felt like she didn't have a purpose. I'm a big, how I'm about purpose.
Yes,
I feel
yes.
everybody has to have a purpose in order to feel like, in order to feel good about yourself. And she worked with me on her GED. She earned her GED.
Mhm.
Then she said, I need a job. So I said, you know what? 15% of our population is Hispanic in our school systems. I said, why
Mhm.
don't you take the paraeducator test?
Mhm.
And so she said, I don't know if I can pass it. And I was like, you can pass it, Isabella.
Right.
So she has gained so much confidence over
Mhm.
the past 2 years.
Mhm.
So she took it, she passed.
Mhm.
So I talked to my superintendent, which I've had
Yeah.
a great relationship with my superintendent. Judge Fleener helps a lot of
Mhm.
stuff, and so does our mayor. We all work so well together. But I said, we don't want to lose her. I said, she knows three different languages. I said,
Right.
this could utilize our population. And I kept talking about her and kept talking about her at all the meetings, because I'm on like 17 boards and committees. So I would mention her and everything. So that way
Right.
everybody's like, oh, we know Isabella. So anyway, finally there was an opening at Morgantown Elementary, and Superintendent Tuck was like, do you think she'd be interested? I said, absolutely.
Mhm.
So now she helps translate and she helps teach the younger
Wow.
ones at Morgantown Elementary. And not only does she do that, another opening came up at the Boys and Girls Club, and they
Mhm.
needed a translator.
Mhm.
And so I said, would you be interested in tackling that? I
Yeah.
said, your kids can go to the Boys and Girls
Right.
Club with you.
Right.
And she goes, absolutely, Miss Amy, absolutely.
Uh.
So now she is teaching at the elementary school and also helping with Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she loves it. And she recently just passed all of her classes this last semester. She said that she passed all of her classes. So she's trying to go to school to be a teacher, a regular ed teacher.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So she's in school and college right now. I'm so proud of her.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up to the crowd real quick. Any questions about this story or for Amy in general?
I'll say a comment, just that that's fantastic, Amy, that you were able to support this young lady being bilingual and giving her that opportunity. Because sometimes that is that does make you feel a little bit like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't speak very good English, or I can't communicate. But this just totally changed her life. I can see that. And being able to take her kids to the Boys and Girls Club, that's awesome. Love it.
Thank you. She's very happy. Like, she actually just I text her Happy New Year, and we stay in contact. She stops by here sometimes, and
Mhm.
she's very, what I love most about her is she's very grateful. Like, she
Yes.
thanks me all the time, and I'm like, it was you, Isabella. You did this.
Right.
You earned all this. And she said, no. She said she just had to find the right person to get her foot in the door, and sometimes that's what it takes.
Well, and I mean, I think, it's no secret. I think you're a pretty fierce advocate for people,
Yeah,
and that's what it takes. I mean, every single one of us has a job, but then along with that, you have to really focus on getting, helping people get to where they need to be, and I think what you're doing goes
Thank
above and
you.
beyond.
She said something to me that I won't ever forget. And I learned stuff from my students. I tell them that too. I'm like, you all teach me things too. I'm not just, I learn from you all as well. Every time I have a student, I learn something new. But she said, I earned her trust. She said it took, she just needed somebody she knew she could trust.
Yeah.
And and she's helped me bring in more of the population into, now I have a Spanish teacher, Miss Lariah, and I know some of you all know Miss Lariah, and we now have at least probably 5 new Hispanic students now,
Wow.
probably because of Miss Lariah and Isabella.
Right. Well, that's wonderful.
And 2 of them are they cannot write, like they are illiterate. So we're trying to help them with that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they're great.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're great. We love all of our students.
Shannon, did you have something? I noticed you were off mute. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just
Shannon.
wanted to give you the opportunity. Should you have a question or a comment?
I don't have a question right now, but I've got many comments. I mean,
Well, let's hear it.
yeah, I mean, Amy's kind of like the hub of all of Butler County. We work with so many different groups in there. First of all, I mean, I got to know her through the Access Point, and she was a, Access Point extraordinaire. And then
We love Miss Shannon.
we've worked with Kentucky Christian Recovery, Junior Achievement. I mean, really anything that comes up. And some of the most um, amazing stories that I've heard in Butler County, through the jail and then through some of Amy's other students. And they do. I mean, they come in there and they know that everybody's got a story, and she really listens to their stories, and takes those things to heart, and she's personally invested in all her students.
Yes, and I
Thank you.
think that's an excellent point. I mean, in addition to just being a firecracker, she,
I am.
yes, and a ball of energy. I think you make people feel heard, and that is so important. I mean, I think that we can offer services to so many people, and look, here's what we can give you. Here's what we can give you. Until someone feels like they have truly been heard, it's very hard to get them to really, like you said, that Isabella said that, you know, you earned her trust,
Mhm.
and that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Anyone else with any questions or comments so far?
I just want to say that Butler County Tuesdays are my favorite,
Mine
and
too.
mostly because of Amy, obviously. But no, it's just because we really get stuff done when we're there. So I'm only there for well, actually, I stay longer and work. But when I'm there for that hour and a half, people leave with answers to their questions, and actually things are getting taken care of. It's not a send you off, we'll call you later. It's a let's finish it then. And I love the initiative that she takes. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm helping my grandma with her Medicare. So I'm doing a chat. So everybody pray for me, please.
Well, we discussed your programs, Brittany, earlier.
I
don't
heard
know if
that,
you were
yeah.
able to hear. Okay. We have a group team. She does such a great job. Shana does a great
Thank
job.
you.
Our team, Brittany, I don't even know how to explain it. We get things done. I mean, people come in here and they leave with some answers instead of leaving with, okay, that was what just happened. They leave
Right.
with answers, and then
And
we don't leave them.
tangible
Yeah.
resumes from Shannon. Thank you so much. Tangible things that they've filled out. OVR also helps as well with their actual getting their application to them so that they can get the counselor on board. Just things that would take people a long time in that little bit of time because of Amy and her resources. We get everything done.
And that's a huge win. It's a huge win for, for you all. Like, oh, we've accomplished so much today. But I mean, think about the people coming in. And that's part, that's part of the frustration so many people have with just the system, in that, oh, you have to sort of jump through hoops to get to certain points, but you all are making it much easier to walk in and get what you need before you leave.
It's like a one-stop shop.
Yes.
And I always look at people as if they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
People just don't know what they don't know. And if we can help fix that, then I feel like, we've done something pretty powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
And the cool thing about Butler County is of course, I was born and raised here and I love my county. But we all, and Shannon, I know, and Brittany now too, could stand for this. The judge executive, the
Mhm.
superintendent,
Mhm.
the mayor. I mean, all these people get on board with my job fairs. They get on board. I had a
Mhm.
FAFSA Friday, and the judge and our superintendent were signing everybody up that was coming to work on the FAFSA. I don't know if other counties are like that. I hope they are, but I'm very blessed to have that support system from, some of the
Right.
political people here in our town. And then also, my husband's a good advocate for me. He sends people
Mhm.
to me as well. I'm very blessed to have a husband that knows that sometimes I'm going to work on Saturdays or sometimes I'm going to work
Yeah.
after church because, people need help. And if I can help them, I will. And if I can't, I will send them to these fine people online here. So, but I have a lot of help and support. And I think that's what I really appreciate the most.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what would you, if someone is watching this or if someone catches a clip of it, and they would be a candidate for GED.
Mhm.
Scared, maybe they're nervous, maybe, whatever. What would you tell somebody about getting their GED? Someone in Butler County, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them that it's a safe spot. And that's written, actually, I have a sign that says that at the
Mhm.
front of our door. This
Mhm.
is a safe spot. Um, I usually just try to talk to them about like, what are you interested in? What do
Mhm.
how, when was your last, when was your last time that you were in school? And I try to give them, I'm like a cheerleader. 'Cause,
Mhm.
I just want to
Mhm.
pep them up a little bit and not just be like, well, you got to do this, this, this.
Right.
First of all, like build a relationship a little bit with them, a little mini
Yes.
relationship. And once you get that mini relationship built and then get them in the door,
Mhm.
that's when things really start working. Once I can
Right.
build that little relationship and get them in the door.
Right.
And once I get them in the door,
Mhm.
I will not leave them alone. I'll be like, you can do this, you can do this.
Right.
So, and I call them, Brittany, we have our list that we call. We will keep helping those people on our list until they don't want us to help them anymore, or they just don't want to
Right.
help themselves. We can
Right.
only do so much.
Right.
But if I can just build that little mini relationship and get them in the door, they'll usually stay.
Mhm. And I think that's an excellent point because I think with all of us who work with individuals who need help with the workforce, who need help with education, if they don't feel initially like you're an actual person
Mhm.
who is willing to help me, I mean, it's very hard to get them to take that next step.
Mhm.
So establishing, even just a few minutes to take with someone to have a conversation to show, yes, I am interested in you as a person.
Mhm.
That can make a huge difference. How long on average does it take someone coming in, how long does it take them to get their GED on average?
On average, usually it's about 6 months.
Okay.
On average. Now, I have some that if they don't have a job, they
Mhm.
can get it done in 3. That's
Mhm.
very rare.
Mhm.
But most of the time it's 6 months. And if you don't have a job, if you have a job, it's usually about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, because life happens. They have kids,
Mhm.
kids get sick. I mean, sometimes it takes about 6 months usually, but sometimes it takes up to a year depending on
Mhm.
if they
And
have a
how
job.
many classes is that? Like how often does someone come in to
You-
get that done?
Usually they come in 2 to 3 times a week for
Okay.
about 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of the time, a lot of my students come before they have to go pick up their kids at school.
Mhm.
Yeah, they come from like 12 to 2 or 11 to 2 or something like that. So that
Okay.
way they're already out and about and then they can go get their kids at school after school's out.
And is it like a class with multiple people or is it one-on-one
It's
or
more one-on-one because, and that's what makes it, that's why I never hardly get to sit down much. Everybody's on a different level in a different subject.
oh
So
wow.
I have to go from, and Shannon and Brittany have seen me do this. This student might be math level M. A student over there might be on English level A. I mean, it's just, that took me a while because I taught 8th grade for so long that I had to adjust myself to be able to go from one subject to another,
Oh,
just like that.
Goodness.
So yeah, now if there's 2 reading students that are on the same level, then I can put them together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most of the time, everybody's on their own different level and different subject.
Yeah, I would imagine it's like
Mhm.
a juggling.
It is.
A juggling act for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, but they keep me up. They're like, I'm on level E, Miss Smith or Miss Smith Thomas, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. So they keep me with
Right.
it. So my students help me a lot. So
Right. So what is graduation like?
We usually have a reception.
Mhm,
Yeah, just, the families come, their cap and gowns are over there. We
mhm,
get pictures made. They get a picture with their diploma
mhm.
and things like that. And if they allow it, I get permission. Of course, I put it in our Beach Tree newspaper and
Mhm.
the banner and stuff like that. So that way everybody can see it.
Well, and that's a big deal.
Mhm.
Even, I think I was speaking with a friend the other day and they were saying, "Oh, I've worked for this company for 20 years
Mm.
and I haven't gotten any sort of recognition." And it's like, as adults, I think that recognition is still
Mhm.
important.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
and especially if you're doing something so life-changing
Mhm.
as taking the step forward to get your
Mhm.
GED. I mean, that needs to be
Well, everybody
recognized.
wants to feel appreciated and
Yes.
recognized and feel like that they've done something, a good accomplishment for themselves.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these, I have two students I can think of right now who are working on their GED, and their kids are doing homework at the same time with their moms. So I think that's pretty cool. Hey, mom, are we going to do homework today? Let's do our homework tonight or whatever. So, and they come in talking about this, this has been good family bonding time for them
Yeah.
because, their elementary level school kids are just like, oh, are we going to do homework today? And
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool on how that worked out for those two students.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We are, let's see. I'm gonna put this back. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do multiple things here. Here we go. Um, Oops. Okay. Is that working? Can you all see the screen now? Okay.
Yes, Butler
So
County Adult Education.
yes, yes. That now here's how do you know that sign? How do you know that sign has been there a long time?
Because it's funded by the Cabinet for Workforce Development.
Yeah.
Well, that could be one. I was gonna say there's no area code.
Oh, yep. Or www dot Butler County Adult
Exactly.
Education.
So how long's that sign been there?
Oh, I don't even know. I've got files that I don't know. It's a while, I would say.
Yeah, Amy was telling me earlier that she was gonna be cleaning out some cabinets and you had files there from.
Oh, 1970 something. Yeah, so the shredder is going to be put to work. When my assistant gets here, Miss Lariah, she knows she's coming prepared to shred a lot of papers. And when we do take a tour, please overlook, we are switching out our bookshelves and switching to new furniture as well. So we have everything's everywhere. I promise it's going to look really nice and pretty in a couple of months.
It looks beautiful. It
Thank
looks
you.
beautiful right now. I mean, it's sort of like an episode of HGTV setting here at Butler County Adult Education. But yes, any other questions or comments? I don't want to overstretch the meeting. But we have just a few people joining us, and as far as questions and answers, I want to give everybody the opportunity. But because our audience is more limited today because of the holiday, I don't want to overextend. So any further questions or comments for Miss Amy Thomas?
I'll ask something.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, Amy. Just wondering. So, what do you think as far as things that your center may regularly need, things that the greatest need that your center consistently or regularly needs, and how your community partners can help assist you in getting those?
Oh, excellent question,
Great
Terry.
question, Terry. Thank
Yes.
you. Transportation. We have a lack of, we have the MOGO bus, which I'm so grateful that our mayor provides that for free. It's a free
Oh, wow.
transportational system but it's only in the city of Morgantown, which is great for my students who live in the city of Morgantown.
Mhm.
But I also have students that live in Butler County outside of Morgantown. But the judge executive knows, I've talked to him about it. They're working to think of some type of plan. Of course, it won't happen just like that, but
Right.
he's aware of it, and he has taken my thoughts into consideration. But transportation is probably the biggest thing. And then also, I don't know why this is, but my pre-test that I have to give my students, the pre-test TABE tests aren't in Spanish, but I can give the GED ready test and the GED test in Spanish. I would like for those pre-tests, I would like to have pre-tests that are also in Spanish. So that way for my Spanish speaking students, because they're, that's a struggle for them to have to take the pre-test, and I'm supposed to get their level of accountability, but how can I get where they really are if they can't read it?
Right.
It's not in
Right.
Spanish. So I really wish that the GED would line up with those pre-tests lining up with the GED ready test, both in Spanish.
Right. And that would be, I guess that would be something that would have to be done officially.
Yes, yeah. There's nothing I would be able to do about that, but transportation's our biggest problem. Transportation, and then also childcare.
Well, yeah. And I think, and those are common issues, but yeah, excellent question, Terry. Any further questions or comments for the wonderful Amy Thomas?
I want to thank you all. Y'all are blessings to me. Thank you so much. I couldn't do it though without my team, without you all. So I think I want to thank you all. And I'm very humbled by this experience. I'm humbled by my job. I mean, my students teach me stuff every day. Even at the jail, I learn stuff there. Sometimes stuff I don't want to know, but anyway. But I'm very humbled and thankful, and I appreciate you all.
Let's start winding down with this. What is one of your most memorable experiences here? And I'm not saying like, oh, this has to be a feel-good story, but what is an experience you'll never forget? Because you do a lot of juggling, you got a lot of stuff going on. What is a memorable moment from Butler County adult education?
I have a lot of them. I have some that are extremely funny, and then I have
Well, let's hear a funny one. Let's hear a funny one.
Well, okay. So we're sitting here at this table, and I'm sitting with my Kentucky Christian Recovery guys. We're talking about some stuff. I don't even know. It was one of the subjects. It was math, actually.
Uh-huh.
And one of the guys, he's younger, he's 19. He looks at me and goes, "Hey, Miss Amy." I said, "What?" He goes, "See those Post-it notes there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Let me show you what you can do with Post-it notes." Then I said, "Okay." And I thought, what's he going to show me? He said, "Pretend this is a scale." He said, and I would take my Post-it note and put it on the scale, and then I'd take whatever drug of choice I would want to put it into the Post-it note. And here's how you fold it once you put it into the Post-it note. And then I make sure it's the value of the scale is how much I want in it. And I was like, what? And so, I mean, I'll never look at Post-it notes the same again.
Well, I think you've changed my perception as well. That's not a skill that I would have thought, hey, you know what? I'm gonna learn something.
I learned that. And so the next day when he came in, all the Post-it notes were off the table. I was like, we will not have Post-it notes on the KCR table anymore.
Dang. Well, yeah, that is
that one. And then the one that bothers me the most is we do have homeless people. Everybody has homeless people in every county. But this young gentleman, and I think Shannon knows this story, and Brittany might too, came off the street. Somebody just dropped him off at the end of the parkway over here, which is just down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in, and this is my 23rd year of teaching. And out of the 23 years of teaching, I have never seen someone so like he was just filthy. It was pitiful. And luckily we have a lady here that she has a house that she has 7 beds. And luckily she had a bed open. And she took him in.
Oh,
and
my
yes,
goodness.
I called her. Her name's Allison. She's a dear friend. We went to school together. I called her. I said, "Can you do me a favor?" I said, this kid needs help."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I can make it work. So she took him in, and he's doing great. So it took us about 3 to 4 months to get him rehabilitated back to where he needs to be, with some therapy, and different things. But
my goodness, can you imagine?
Pitiful.
I mean, a guy just dropped off on the side of the road.
He just was, and he walked here and asked if we could help him, and we did. It was heartbreaking, but now it's heartwarming because he's doing such a better job.
My goodness. Yes. Well, and I mean, that's what it all comes down to: changing lives, focusing on individuals, finding out what their story is, gaining their trust, and then getting to tangible solutions. I think that's what Brittany said
Mhm.
earlier. You've got something tangible that you can walk away with. And that's so important for the individual, but for us too, because as for, my job's a little bit different as far as how, what I do in particular, but I know you all do so many things that, it has to wear on you,
Mhm.
the amount of work and the number of people out there who need help, who are struggling. And by providing something tangible to someone before they leave, that's uplifting. It has to be uplifting to you,
It is.
because it's like, oh, I've done something to help somebody and I know it. Here's the proof. So, I think the specifics are key.
And then we have also I need to our Morgantown mission. I wanted to mention our Morgantown mission.
Yes,
Shauna
absolutely.
is amazing. She's our new director over at the Morgantown mission. I called her, well, actually text her Monday. One of my inmates needed a Bible. She wanted a
Oh.
Bible where she could highlight and do different things because she gave her Bible to a new inmate because that inmate was down on her luck. And she said, you need to read these scriptures.
Yes.
And so I text Shauna at the mission and said, do you have this certain Bible that she was wanting?
Mhm.
And she said, I already have your name on one. It's waiting up front. So I went after I left the jail, when picked up the Bible, went back to the jail now. And you should have seen her face when she got this new Bible.
Oh my goodness.
So a lot of good things there's a lot of sad stories that go along with what I do and what we all do, but there's also a lot of uplifting things that happens
Well, yeah.
too. And the mission, Sean is always there. If I need something,
Mhm.
she doesn't, I said, I'll pay for it. She's like, no, it's going to the jail. We'll pay for it. We got it.
And I mean, part of life that, you can't have the happy without a little sad.
Mhm.
I mean, happiness just doesn't exist on its own. You have to have, you don't appreciate or feel happy unless you have something to compare it to. So we're all, it's something that we all are striving toward. So very good, very good. All right. Everybody needs to know, are there any special events, switching gears, are there any special events or opportunities that you have with your program or programs or organization that you would like to share with everyone before we sign off?
Yeah, our targeted orientation classes are the first Tuesday of every month. So next Tuesday from 11 until 12:30.
Mhm.
And usually the team will stay till 2, 3 o'clock because they'll work from here. But we are open for those people that might need a job, might need to get to college, might need a resume. Just we're a one-stop shop that day.
Yes, yes,
that's the first Tuesday.
absolutely, absolutely. What about other folks? Shannon, Laura, Brittany, Terry, Anna, any special events, opportunities, anything that you want to make mention of, just to everyone who is watching currently or may be watching down the road? You're Laura, I think you're talking, but you're there you go.
Yep. Welcome to 2025. So
That's
during
right.
Refugee Employer Engagement Program, we bring on-site training to those folks that have limited English communication skills, and we work to bring on-site training. So Amy, if you know any employers that might want to do English classes for their employees, I'd be more than happy to talk to them and see how we can help them out.
Thank you.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right. Well, whoops, that is the slide. That is a slide from last time. What? So anyway, we did a more of an interview with Amy, but I mean, I think you do so much, you provide so much, you're an incredible resource. And I mean, like I said earlier, this place, it looks like it's something out of a magazine. I'm just gonna tell you, it looks great. But she has so many resources for people, and I know the entire county. I mean, Butler County I mean, they appreciate you,
Yeah, and I
you're,
appreciate
you know,
them.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's amazing. Like our youth service center ladies, I work with them all the time. Miss Lariah and I helped with Toys for Tots. I mean, there's just, because of course Lariah, she translated a lot at Toys for Tots for us, and we appreciate that. But it takes a team. And I always like to thank everybody else, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for everybody else. And of course, God
Mhm.
first. But I do. It takes a whole team, and I love it. I love how we help people.
Yes,
It
yes.
just it makes my heart happy.
Well, yeah. And it's like you said, the whole finding a purpose. And I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like Amy Smith Thomas has absolutely found hers.
I have. Thank
Her
you.
her place is here at Butler County Adult Education. And this organization is key, and what you do is so important. And not only that, but it serves as just a catalyst for all these other things that you do, to help individuals, to help people, and to really give people just a boost so they can move on to find their purpose, to move on, to find a better life. Well, we will be looking at next month, and you all tell me if you want to, if you're interested in doing like the on-site. I can continue with the on-site thing. Um, and we can also do like just a conversation type thing. But any feedback, I am completely open to it. Constructive criticism, I'll take it as long as it's said with a smile. And you don't even have to really do that. I'll take it no matter what. But again, we're trying to give you a more, I guess, a more honest, more in-depth portrayal of what different community partners do and what they're about. Because, at least for me, I feel like I know so much more about what you do, about, even though I've been here multiple times, I mean, you do so very much. And just in conversation that comes out. So, thank you all for joining us. I believe everyone here is probably already following us on social media, but we've got
you, Laura.
the QR code there. Should you want to follow from another account, you can do that as well. Anyone who would be open to, doing this type of thing with their organization, let me know. Leslie at southcentralworkforce.com. But thank you all for spending part of your hopefully very first day back to work with us. I'm very grateful for you all joining us, and look forward to seeing you again next month. But thank you very much, Amy.
Thank
You're
you
the
all.
best. You're wonderful.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
2025.
Bye.